Okay, well, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, but as a brief, what we've decided to do is also do the emceeing in a democratic way. Usually at the end of an event, you have a small acknowledgement for all the people who put it together. This time, we want to see each of the speakers also introduced by someone that they might have worked with or who's taken their class. So just be prepared for that. I will introduce the first one that Dean just talked about today. Now, Bhaskar Chakravorti is also a dean at the school. He's the dean of the International Business Program. He has a background that's almost exactly fitted for our theme, which is technology or media for global social change, right? And his resume is there. By the way, we're not distributing papers because with the theme, we have a website that's very mobile friendly. So if you want to read a bit more about the speakers, just go to our website and there it'll be. Okay? But I will just say one thing about Bhaskar in the last 2 years. I must have met him 10 to 12 times, seen him around the school a lot. Like any dean, his schedule is full. I've never once seen you in a bad mood. So I don't know how you do it. You know, you're always pleasant, you're always warm to everyone, and I think it's just fitting that we start this program with you. Thank you, and a big round of applause, please, for Bhaskar Chakravorti.
I'm glad to get that applause out front. It's always good to get advance payment, regardless of what happens afterwards. So welcome, everybody. So this talk was, Dean changed the title of the talk, but I'll stick to my own title, which is, it's about flying cars and the human condition. Now, technologists inherently are a grumpy lot. They're never satisfied. They're never happy with what they see around them. And so they're constantly trying to tinker with the world around them. So this guy over here is Peter Thiel, is the founder of a company called PayPal. How many of you know PayPal? Okay. And he's also funded a whole bunch of other companies that all of you know just as well. Oh, okay. So just start again.
Right on the top, it's not on.
Okay. There you go, technology. Lesson number 1, turn your mic on. No wonder technologists are such a grumpy lot, because most of us aren't competent enough to use technology in the way it's supposed to be used. Right. So here's a guy, Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal and investor in many companies, including Facebook and a whole bunch of others, who complained that we asked for flying cars, and instead we got 140 characters. There's a bunch of people at Berkeley protesting a talk that Peter Thiel gave. Now, we are living in a time where technology is moving faster and faster, accelerating at a pace that we can barely keep up with, including the fact that we need to switch on and off so many different devices that we can never keep track. The Industrial Revolution, which pretty much was at least the starting point of the modern technological era, has been superseded by what we are living through right now, which is an industrial revolution that is at least 1,000 times as powerful as the first industrial revolution. If you think about the fact that in the United Kingdom there are about 10 million people whose gross product was doubled over the course of 150 years during the Industrial Revolution. And now in China, about 100 times that many people, and their gross product was doubled in 15 years. So, just 1,000 times the acceleration and the mass that we saw in the first Industrial Revolution. So we're living in times where technology is moving much, much faster than we have ever experienced before and that we can ever imagine. And really, what we have to think about is not only how complicated and how fast and how fascinating all this technological change is, but also what is it doing to the state of the human condition? Where are we headed? Are we inherently going to be better off? Or are we creating more problems than we had to start with? So a good place to start is this picture right here. It's called The Human Condition. It's made by this guy, the Belgian surrealist, René Magritte. And René Magritte, one of the quotes that I love about, the many memorable quotes that he has, is To be a surrealist means barring from your mind all remembrance of what you've seen and being always on the lookout for what has never been. So I find his painting the human condition a great place to start and imagine all the things that have never been. So here is something that has never been. A flying car. Peter Thiel, we have news for you. We do have flying cars. In fact, a few are just about to hit the market. But we have more changes in the offing. Technology is going to replace doctors, apparently, if IBM had their way. And they are developing the intelligent machine that is going to diagnose everything that's wrong with you and tell you what to do to make yourself better. We have technology that's changing people's lives around the world. This is a picture from a city I grew up in, which doesn't look like a particularly orderly or a smart or a technologically enabled city right now. But increasingly, there is a policy in the country of India to create a network of so-called smart cities, whatever that means in the Indian context. I can't even imagine. But apparently, technology is going to make these chaotic, some of the most chaotic parts of the world, exceedingly smart. Technology is going to take all those people out of the picture and replace them with computers, robots, automated systems that is going to do our work for us and leave us to wonder what to do with all that free time and maybe get the robot to help us fill some of that free time. Technology is going to be that magic wand that we already carry in our pocket, and it can do a few things today, and it will do a whole bunch of things and practically everything we ever wanted to do in the future, including pay our bills, including open our car doors, including maybe summoning a car for us and we don't even need to have a car, including waking us up in the morning and putting us to sleep at night and monitoring what we do while we sleep at night. That magic wand, it's already there. And by the way, that magic wand is not just in our pockets for those of us who have pockets. This is a magic wand that has found its way all the way to the bottom of the economic pyramid. Everybody is going to be technologically enabled, and they're going to have that magic wand in their hands, in their pockets, in the folds of their clothes. What an amazing world. And it's such an amazing world that we'll live till we're at least 150 years old to enjoy the benefits of technology. According to some of the smartest people around, and this is a gentleman by the name of Ray Kurzweil, who intends to live at least that long and is dreaming up all kinds of technologies that will help us live that long and enjoy the benefits of all these wonderful things that we've got around us. However, that is one vision of the human condition. Here's another painting by René Magritte. And it's also called The Human Condition. And on this canvas, I can paint a different picture. The more the digital surroundings we have, the bigger the digital edifice we build, the more doors and windows that edifice will have for people to climb in and take our stuff, to watch what we do before we go to sleep, to watch what we do while we are asleep, to take stuff from our homes and from our lives while we are asleep. So the more digitally enabled we are, we could be more digitally vulnerable. All that technology is creating an accelerating demand for stuff, and that's going to bounce against finite resources. And at some point, that collision is not going to be terribly pretty. All those smart cities could end up looking like this, because we're all piling up on top of each other in less and less available space. Or it could look like this. Or it could look like this. These are all slums from 3 different continents. They all look the same. The human condition doesn't change a whole lot when we're all crammed on top of each other in this technologically enabled, wonderful set of clusters called megacities where we're all headed, and we already are there. At least most of us are in these mega cities or in some kind of cities. In terms of the helping hand, we may all need a helping hand because we're all, as we get economically better off, technologically better off, we're also going to have fewer children. We are not going to be children for long. We're going to get older, and we're going to need a lot of help on lots of things. And maybe technology's role will be to prop us up for those 150 years that we need to survive for. Remember that magic wand that does all kinds of things? Well, it turns out that there may be still vestiges of the past that will be in our pockets. My wallet looks like this. It's actually not, it doesn't look like this because of the cash that's in it. It's mostly receipts that I haven't submitted for reimbursement as yet. Remember the bottom of the pyramid? The Maasai holding up their phones with their magic wands? Well, it's possible that that bottom of the pyramid is a giant global pyramid scheme, where those of us who are technologically enabled are shifting our dirty industry to another part of the world, and the folks with the dirty industry are using that, a different form of technology, and shifting the even dirtier stuff to the next level down, and so on. And eventually, we keep stripping that bottom of the pyramid, stripping the resources out of that bottom of the pyramid in order to enable those of us who are technologically a little bit more sophisticated at the higher and higher echelons. And we may eventually reach that point where, just like Rodin's thinker on the cover of a recent Economist magazine, we are left to ponder that have we reached the end of the road? Despite all our celebration of flying cars and all these wonderful technological objects, these fantastical objects, are we ever going to invent anything as useful as that thing I'm sitting on right now? Imagine indoor plumbing. Imagine indoor plumbing. Imagine somebody coming up with something that comes even close. Are there still opportunities open for us to reinvent indoor plumbing? Well, heck, there is. That's a reinvention of something called a flying toilet, a plastic bag in which people do their business in many parts of the world, particularly in East Africa, and toss it, therefore, the flying toilet. And this is a company called Peepoo, which actually allows you to do that in a somewhat sanitary way. We won't go into the details. But technology has found its way, even in the reinvention of indoor plumbing in many parts of the world. So there you have it, different visions of the human condition. And technology is playing a role in all of them. Which vision are we going to be a part of? What is our future? Well, that's up to us to figure out and for us to navigate. It's eventually going to be a messy mix of these bookend situations. And technology is always going to keep us from shuttling between the flying car and the flying toilet. And the human condition is going to be bookended by the flying car that the Peter Thiels of the world are going to be pouring more and more money into, and the flying toilet, which unfortunately will continue to exist for the remaining 150 years or the remaining 100 years of our lives, and we'll constantly be looking for solutions to getting rid of that flying toilet. Thank you.